uh, is being recorded for posterity's sake so that you can come back and watch the fun and games all over again. So I'd like to welcome everyone back to the seventh meeting of the Teacher Town Hall, which used to be a roundtable, but we outgrew it. It's been growing steadily, although now that you're all back in school, we're probably going to get intermittent participation because, well, everyone's busy. But I've been told that to keep this going because this is therapeutic. People love watching it. So for those of you who are watching it on YouTube, please comment, like, subscribe, or do whatever else YouTubers do. And thank you very much for watching. So, but for those of you who are here, this is a discussion. This isn't a presentation. This is all about, what's real, raw, and relevant, and what we really want to talk about. So you could be very real here. You could use curse words if you feel like it, but always remain civil. So this is our seventh meeting, and we're all back to school during a pandemic, or was it or is it a forest fire, or is it a hurricane, or what next? So what else is 2020 going to throw at us? So if you haven't already, we like to get people engaged in chat as well with an icebreaker question. So the question today is, for other than telling us what you teach and where, also what is the most difficult skill you had to learn during this pandemic? And I know a lot of people are going to say like Canvas or something like that. So go ahead and fill that out and tell us a little bit about yourself. Once I close this screen sharing view, switch to gallery view so you can kind of see everyone in Brady Bunch mode. Otherwise, you'll be in speaker view, so you only see the person who is speaking. And make sure to turn off your camera. We do want to see you. I know that as teachers, you tell your students, turn on your camera. So if you are in a situation where you can, that'd be great. It's an open mic unless if you have to mute yourself. Feel free to have conversations. Type any questions in chat. We do offer certificates of participation if you need some of those like hours. And please, no requests for demos of KP Compass. So this is was that month 6 of the quarantine? So I've got my quarantine beard and my quarantine hair. This marks my 10th month where I haven't got my hair cut. So this is kind of wild. It's gotten pretty long. So with the previous episodes, I won't go over it, but basically we were talking about the future, and the future came and slapped us in the face with episode 6. And then I created a site basically because we had so many resources that teachers were bringing up that this one link will take you to a bunch of the ideas, documents, and other things that were discussed during the meeting, chat logs, previous videos as well. So I'll provide that in the chat right now so that you can have that available to yourself. And then the 6th one, the back to school. So one was an eye opener. So many things we were hoping wouldn't happen happened, and here we are to expand on that. Here is our agenda for today. A quick tip on memory management. I get asked this a lot, so I thought I'd share this really quick tip. The Bitmoji movement, so that Mike is going to talk a few minutes about how the Bitmoji movement has exploded and now has developed a brand new resource site to kind of put everything together in one cohesive document, I guess. We're going to talk a little bit about current events. We're going to talk about a survey that I threw out this morning just to kind of get things rolling, and we're going to talk about our own lives and our challenges moving forward. Here's a quick little survey that was given in the sign-up sheet as a form. So, I asked basic questions. How do you feel about these roundtables? And we see these are the answers. Like mostly hopeful, inspired, gaining new ideas, not feeling alone. So that's the purpose of this entire endeavor, is to do that as well. So a quick tip on memory. So I want to share with something because everyone like me probably has a billion screens open, or a billion web pages open, and you often find your computer getting really, 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 really slow. So I'm going to show you one quick thing that will let you change that and make it a little bit better without having to restart. So here, okay, I just switched my screen, so you're probably seeing the entire screen now because I need you to see multiple windows. Otherwise, you'd only see this window. Is that if you're in Google Chrome, if you click on the equal sign, you'll have down here under More Tools, Task Manager, or you can hit Shift Escape on the keyboard. When you pull that up, it's going to sort. I always sort it by memory footprint, and what this does is it tells you which web tab are taking up the most amount of your memory on your computer, and because you're not using it currently, it's hogging, like in this case, a good chunk of it, like KB Compass here. So what you can do is you could kill it, or end process, I call it kill. And what that does, it will free up the resources. The tab will stay there, but it'll knock it out of memory. So when you go back, it'll reload again. Now, don't do anything that's currently active, like a video. Like here, I have this my email, and Jeff is apparently messaging me something, so I'm gonna kill that. Here's some Facebook pages. I'm not gonna kill that, but so you can go down the list and see what's taking up the majority of your memory. A really huge time saver, because you can go through, knock out your top 5, and your computer will start running smoothly again. So was that a good tip? You know, so answer in the chat if that helped you out at all, or it was so basic that you knew it 10 years ago. I also like to do a GPU process, because sometimes this gets into the 2,000 kilobytes, or 2 million kilobytes, or 2 megabytes. So I kill that, and that just refreshes the entire display process for the GPU. And I won't get into the technicals of that. So with that being said, Mike, would you like to, are you still here, or are you in transit right now to pick up your daughter?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, I'm here with you.
Okay, good.
All right. Well, update on Bitmoji. We've got the drive finished, and thanks to Nye and Jean Torres, we've got the whole back end of the site basically almost automated. So we're still looking for moderators in other states, or our goal is to get at least one moderator in every state. And, you know, really it's just turned into a big collaborative effort. You know, Bitmoji is just a part of it. We invited Lindsay Harlan from Interactive Notebooks, or FCS, Interactive Digital Notebooks, to join us, and her site, and we're going to merge the two sites together, because Interactive Notebooks and Bitmoji really go well together. And in the end, we're all just trying to impact our kids and do the best we can to make our jobs more efficient. So,
Mike, just really quick before you move on, I just want to tell you the site has exploded from, even last week it was 2,000 members, now it's 2,400 plus members. A month ago it was only 1,000 some odd members. So it's just going, and with what you're doing with combining the efforts from other groups, this is going to become a really great collaborative resource for free resources for teachers. Continue on.
Well, and yeah, that's the thing is, I mean, when we it actually started in this group. So we were having dialogue about how we could collaborate during COVID and the distance learning, and just, you know, the manpower it takes to do some of this online stuff with everybody in the country and all these teachers creating even a single slide or a single lesson plan. We've already got close to a year's worth of creativity and different kinds of lessons that can all incorporate into any curriculum, into any learning management system. And it just seems like a lot of cool stuff is getting created. And hopefully we'll have more of the resources moved over. But the biggest thing is, you know, all of us are full-time teachers. I'm actually on my way to pick up my daughter right now at her ag farm she's with her pig. And Jean has a daughter in another business. She runs the sanitation and safety group. So we're just trying to collaborate and, you know, do the best we can during this time. I mean, it's pretty stressful. And I know on this call, we're going to talk about some of the challenges that are happening out there in all school districts. I can tell you personally, I've had a student who had his dad and his brother killed in a hit and run in my first period class. Yesterday, I had a young lady that had a seizure for 15 minutes while I sat on the floor and held her to keep her safe. And it's just, every time I turn around, more paperwork and more policies or procedures. So we just want to basically help each other. And I can't thank Nye and Lindsay and John and everybody else out there, Christy, all the guys that have basically been supportive and helping kind of, it's a team effort. It's not my site. It's our site. That's why we named it. We changed the name to the CTE Brigade because we want to be inclusive and we want to work together. So I'm going to get my little daughter and say hi to my piggy, and I'll be back in about 3 minutes.
Okay, great. So basically what you're seeing on the screen right now is if you want to join the group, and gain access to the resources, there's a place for that. Now, one of the things that we want to make sure is that you are a teacher, so we do verify a couple of different places, like, are you part of a Facebook group or some sort? Because like we've got some not so great instances that happened in the past month, so just being a little bit more careful, I guess. And then secondly, once you're joined it, then you could then contribute your resources to the group, and there's a form that's being used to fill that. So it's just a lot of collaborative things, and the best part is it's teachers helping teachers, and it's free, so that so that you just have a great place to organize. And like Mike said, like it could take one person 100 hours to build what they need, or 100 people to build everything in 1 hour, and that's the whole entire model of collaboration, of distributed, I was going to say distributed networking, but that's my computer geek side of me going, but or blockchain. No, we won't say that. But anyway, so that's what that is. So I posted the request site there on top of that. So that's just been really awesome just to see something like that. We also have something else that's going to be growing from this group, which is a movement that will be used to help, like, promote school programs by basically donating to first responders and helping out local farms. So that's being in the works and trying to figure that out. And another topic is, like, working on probably a virtual competition. Who knows? Anyway, so with that being said, let's get on to the meat of the topic. So here is a survey that was just kind of thrown out there this morning, asking, like, what is the biggest challenges that you've been faced with this year? And here's the results from that. Coming on number one, teaching both in person and online. I know we talked about this 2 months ago. It's like, how can they really do this to us? And yes, they did that to us, and boy, has it been tough. Making sure that attendance is strong, lack of engagement, that's pretty much what we expected. Lack of technology skills to help parents and students, lack of accountability, students not doing assignments in remote learning, so it's hard to get them to actually do the work, not only attend. No video, like, that means, like, not requiring the students to have the video on during a asynchronous meeting, or synchronous meeting, sorry, I used the term wrong. Online curriculum difficulties, working with different curriculums and having difficulties with that. An excess amount of grading, gosh, it's like your grading just went through the roof, which is like crazy. Having too many meetings and professional development, not allowed to cook at home, lack of direction from admin, so 7 of you said that. And then these ancillary ones were just like, so I'm glad to see that, people didn't say the LMS or learning management system, such as Canvas or Blackboard or whatever, wasn't the major problem that y'all are having, because, that's a big hurdle to get over. No cutting at home. We heard that last meeting where your kids were not allowed to cut, but we found plastic knives that you can't cut yourselves with, so you can still practice your skills. So maybe that's helping with the problem. No service to the public, meaning that you're not allowed to serve food to the public, like your restaurants anymore. That's very specific to Butler Tech. And no Wi-Fi. And no one said being locked down again, so let's see. All right, so I'm going to turn off the screen sharing so we can see each other's smiling faces. And there we go. And remember to turn on gallery view, which is found on the top right of the screen, to see everyone's faces on the screen who have their videos on. And please turn on your videos. We want to see you interact with the rest of us. So it's good seeing you, Brenda. Everyone, haven't seen you in a while. Okay, great. So who would like to start with with one of the things that you were challenged with? And did you come up with a solution, or would you like to ask the group for ideas? Anybody raise your hand? Anybody? Nobody? Everyone's good? All right. Oh, we see Juanita has raised her hand. So thank you for hitting the raise hand button. Or you can just wave on the screen too. That'll work.
Hi, everyone. I'm from Southern California, and my biggest thing was getting the students engaged. So I found that playing games with them like Kahoots or quizzes has been a really good thing to use in the classroom. I have heard of others, but I'm still playing around with, I mean, there's like so much to try out, right? So far I've used quizzes, Edpuzzle, and Kahoots, and it's been great.
Flipgrid is one that's very popular.
Flipgrid.
Yes.
Yeah. I forgot about that one. There's so many.
Yeah, there's too many. Actually, before we get started, I forgot I was going to ask this. I'm going to throw up a poll here. Basically, I've been trying to figure out ways to get communications to y'all the best way. So the poll is basically saying, what is the best or most effective method that works for you? And I'm trying various methods because I'm finding that people's emails are being sent to spam or disappeared or so like so there's like other ways to try to do that. So calendar invites up there. I think Zoom registration is a good one because I think schools are automatically not blocking Zoom. So I'm trying a variety of different things. I know I get a lot of people from Eventbrite. So cool. So basically, answer that poll. And thanks for sharing that, Juanita. Those are ways to really get them engaged, is to have a variety in your tool set of games, interactives, and things to keep them engaged. All right. Anyone else like to share some major challenges that you encountered? All right. SH tag.
I am Shannon. Hi, everybody.
Hi, Shannon.
Job Corps, Treasure Island, San Francisco.
Yeah, good seeing you.
Yay. We're going on our 6th month, which is
crazy. Yeah, that's right. You guys started earlier.
We're all year round. And the most challenging, obviously, is not having them in person. But we're all G Suite Google experts on creating classrooms and quizzes and Quizlets. What does help a lot is our live lessons that we do through Google Meets. And what we do is we film ourselves making something, and then on this Google Meets, we play the video and talk and walk them through. So we go through each process. So it's good to see their faces. They have questions, and we stop the video. Then we have the video on as an assignment for the kids who couldn't make the live lessons. So then the whole class is able to see it. It's very strange to be behind a computer and not in a kitchen. So hopefully we'll get back on campus soon.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely is strange to be in this situation. But I'm actually grateful that technology has made it so that we can do this rather than sending them workbooks. so of all the things that you can think about, we do have the tools to be able to continue at some degree of rigor. But yeah, I totally get you.
What I have been doing lately is taking my camera on, like I was in Solvang for the weekend, and I walked through the town and did like a field trip and went and got inside a bakery, and they walked me all the way through to their production kitchen. So things like that to just kind of change it up, because they get really bored really fast, and keeping them on their toes week to week so they keep coming back when you do things different really helps a lot too.
Actually, that's a really cool, great thing that you did. And is that something that you can share or upload to?
I could kind of.
Because a couple.
I have a mini, and I kind of take it with me, and then I have the clips program on it, so then I could put music to it, have an opening, and cut and paste, and add video, add pictures. Yeah. But I know some of the other chefs have gone to like fish markets or farmers markets or things like that to just kind of change it up a bit.
Yeah, and those are the things like, kind of like the Bitmoji thing, is that, the little things that you do, it doesn't have to be full production, like Emerald quality or Food Network quality stuff. It's just like, hey, well, let's walk through the farmer's market, look at stuff.
And they actually get a kick out of when we like trip over the curb or steal some food or things like that, because then you're human. So that's kind of fun to not make it so professional.
And that's the beauty of it. And because like, a couple of months ago, we brought up this idea of doing virtual field trips. And like, every teacher or person in your area, like if you're in Maine, you go do lobsters. And if you're in, was that Maryland, you do, was that calamari? Was that the thing that they did on the DNC? That was funny. But but basically, whatever your specialty is in the area, you just go and film a little bit of it, and you share it with everyone. And so then by the end, everyone will have a little thing that they could share about every 50 state from teachers all around the country. So like you don't have to travel to see something in Florida or in Arizona.
There is a library of videos that we put inside so other chefs can pick and choose from,
Uh-huh.
just to kind of change it up, because you have food management, you have
Yeah.
serve safe alcohol or what have you, and sometimes other people are doing things that you don't have to do a second or third time. So
Yeah.
you can
So
go from theirs.
cool. So that's something you're doing internally, but I'm talking on a larger scale. So
Right, right.
so we'll probably do that as an extension of the Bitmoji group. Like we'll call it the Vidmoji group. I don't know. So because that's a good idea, but we couldn't really do much during the summer because everyone was hunkered down. But now that we're kind of starting to reemerge, we can bring that idea to light. So thanks, Shannon. Thanks for sharing. So anybody else have any major challenges that they've ran across? Yes, Scott.
So it's not really a challenge. I just found this and it was cool, and I shared it with a couple of teachers. There's an extension in Chrome called Custom Cursor, and they have a ton of different food cursors,
Cool.
so you can customize. And the kids got it was a hit today, and so I'm planning on changing up, so the food matches what I'm talking about that day, and they can see it on my screen. So super easy extension. Check it out.
That's
Cool. Custom cursor. So can you put that in chat so that we can?
Yeah, it's in there. I'll put it again.
Oh, you did? Okay. Is that it? No, I don't. I was just seeing if you put the link of the. Yeah, anything to kind of change it up, because like if you've been in my previous sessions, sometimes I like to turn myself into a pirate. So you could do those things in Zoom, cute little things like this. Sometimes I kind of go overboard because of my ADHD nature, so I change every like 30 seconds. I'm actually surprised I haven't changed my background in the past like 20 minutes. That's very unusual for me, so we're due for a background change now. So thanks for sharing that. I knew there's a lot of cool things, but yeah, cursors, who thought that a cursor would be something that you would want to change up for distance learning, so thanks. So I'm going to throw up my favorite competition that I missed this year. Okay, so anybody else? Any other cool tips, challenges, crazy things that you had to deal with? Mike said earlier that he had a student who went into a seizure yesterday. So I don't think that's pandemic related, but or lockdown related, but I guess that's real world. So anything else? Raise your hand, wave at me. Okay, Veronica.
Sorry, it takes me a little while to do my, find my cursor thing.
No problem.
Stop talking, my unmute. So we started a few weeks ago, and we started in moderate. So we were supposed to have our children twice a week, only they told me I was on block, then I wasn't on block, so now I'm on block. So I only see my students once a week for 90 minutes, and then the other 3 days they're on the computer while I'm teaching the students in my room. So I'm finding that that's extremely hard, and I have a first-year student who has never taken a foods class with me or my coworker who teaches at the middle school, who's taking a beginning foods class this semester and an advanced college 3-credit class next semester. And they told me that it's okay, she can do that. And so it's kind of hard for me to figure that all out. And then we have low economic status. So originally they said we were not really going to send food home if the kids were at home. Well, today our superintendent and principals changed their mind. So now we're going to send food home, and so we have to pack food. And I'm lucky right now, I only have one virtual student, but my coworker has 5 in addition to teaching all day. And so we're trying to figure out when we're going to have time to pack the food, and we have to make specific labels so that the parents and the student know. And some of ours are English is not their first language. So we have to have the labels printed so that they know how long the chicken, and we're going to send home meat and
Oh,
chicken and eggs.
wow.
And they're talking that they don't want to be sued. And I'm like, okay, well, I think this is not the right direction to go. I was only going to, a friend of mine last semester when we were home in spring, she sent home like shelf stable products, which is what I thought we were going to do. And now they said, no, if it belongs in your recipe, you have to send it to all the virtual students, unless you get them to sign something saying their parents would prefer not to receive any ingredients at all. So that's kind of crazy.
Wow, that's actually a major turn because our last meeting, everyone was saying no food and definitely no
Yep.
proteins. Now we're seeing that you can with caveats.
Mhm.
Those are some pretty interesting caveats that you got there.
Yep.
So one person was last time they basically switched over to plant proteins. Using
Oh, sure. Okay.
and utilizing that instead of the regular proteins. So, and that
Yeah, I think that's a good suggestion because I would feel a little more comfortable with that.
yeah, because the whole entire thing of transporting food and making sure that it's properly stored at the right temperature, you can control that in the classroom. But once it leaves your classroom, like how long has it been sitting in the car? Did you get dysentery? I'm sorry, dysentery is not from that, but I just love saying that word. Um, but yeah, so so I can't remember who made that suggestion last time. I don't see him here, but he's been doing that, and I mean, Beyond Meats is taking off. So it's or the what's the other one? I can't remember. And that's, you still got to cook it the same almost. So try that. Cool. Yeah, I can't believe, who knows what's next week they're going to change their mind again. Um, yes, you're allowed to use knives again, and if you cut yourself, what's going to happen? Okay, great. Anybody else have any interesting challenges? And yeah, definitely bring it up because since I've been doing this so long, and a lot of us have been here for so long, we might have an idea or a solution that has been spoken about before, like this one, and yeah, and who knows, who knew that you had to spend all your time labeling food now? I can't imagine the teacher who has to do 100 students. I don't think that's possible, actually. No, it's not, actually. It's not possible. Okay, Ashley, over at the cafe, what are you going to bring up for us today?
I guess my most challenging, I guess I'm kind of gonna vent.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
But the challenge that I'm dealing with, that I've been dealing with even before the pandemic, has been with my director. When she hired me, I had made her aware that I had no previous teaching experience. And it seemed like since I started, she just didn't like me. And back in March, when the pandemic first started, she tried to fire me over the phone. And luckily I was able to battle that, but it feels like it's getting worse and worse. And every opinion I have, every suggestion I have, she shoots it down. And it's like everything I'm doing is wrong. My classroom is wrong. My assignments are wrong. So that's just my challenge that I'm trying to handle. Luckily, I have teachers that have been backing me up. So that's been helpful. It's just that that's the struggle that I'm dealing with right now.
Yeah, wow. So I'm sure that no one here can relate to that. um,
And it's this is my second year teaching. So.
Oh, wow. So welcome to the profession. This is something we hear a lot of, not commonly, but it does happen quite a bit in education where you butt heads with administration. Does anybody have a word of advice for Ashley on that particular deal? And I see that.
Ashley, I do, Debbie Bates.
All right, Debbie.
Ashley, I've been battling this for about 6 years. And I love my kids and I love my job so much that I just realize that I have to kind of pick my battles. And sometimes I just have to, and I think I make my own path worse sometimes because my director has done such crazy things to, like one year he was so mad at me, he cut my budget to $6,000 total for the whole year to run a culinary program. So I just went out and found other ways. I got community support. I really work a lot to get my kids recognized. We're on the front page of the paper, and you just do your job and you just kind of put blinders on, and you can be very successful. Because it's really funny to me, he makes my life miserable most days, but then when he goes out and talks about me in the community, it's a different story. So that sometimes that truly might be happening with you. So I would just encourage you to just, if you're passionate about where you are and you love those kids, just love them to death, do your best job, and don't worry so much about, because he even physically threatened me, and I had to remove myself from the building and had to be walked back in with the union. So things can get bad, but I've still been there. My program is a top program. My kids got over $200,000 in scholarship this year alone. So if you're just passionate about your program and you do the right things, he or she is just left sitting in the dust, quite honestly. Just my 2 cents.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Debbie. And I think you should provide a little context as well. You said $6,000, and that actually probably seems like a lot for other people, but you're in a tech center, which is like minuscule. So there's a kind of like a difference of perspective there. But also, this teaching is your second profession, so you didn't start out there, right?
No, I did not. And some of the things that school administrators do, because I was in the business world, I did not become a teacher till age 47. And I'm also a networker. So, if he tells me, no, I can't have something, then I just go to the community and say, where could I find this? Where could somebody donate something to me? And yeah, like you said, I was competing against, we have our own career tech programs. We're still a comprehensive high school, but we don't get near the funding, or I don't have near the funds that the tech center that has 5 or 10 schools that feed into it. Their budgets are much, much higher. But when you think of running a program where you competed in skills, FCCLA, and ProStart, $6,000 wouldn't even fund those 3 competitions, let alone your regular program. And kids get college credit for my program as well. We're articulated with several colleges. So when you think of it, when you think of it in that context, $6,000 is very small.
It is. It's tiny. It's a drop in the bucket.
Hey.
So I just wanted to bring that up because comprehensive high school teachers have a different budget, I guess. So everyone has different buckets. So Ashley, does that help a lot? Does that help you?
Yes, it does. Thank you so much.
Well, I was going to say, I like what Debbie said, but, one of the things is, find something you can get a win with in the community, or do something that's going to get you recognized in the community. Because once the community's on your side, and once you're getting recognition in the paper or the media, your CT director a lot of times has no choice but to come around, because your school board or your administration or some key players in your community that are influential, especially restaurateurs, CT directors, sometimes they want to see you get the wins. And once you get the wins, then they'll leave you alone. But in the beginning and early in your career, it's kind of hard because you got to prove yourself. And it takes 1 or 2 wins, whether it's a competition, winning scholarship monies or doing a big event for a fundraiser or, you know, feeding the school board. You know, I'd start there, feed the school board or feed your administration once a year and do something really nice so they can't talk bad about you and they have to support you. And I'm lucky I've got a pretty good school district and school board, but I've been in a school like you're talking about, and it's a battle daily when they're trying to just undermine everything you're trying to accomplish. And then, of course, the school I was at, it was all about core, and they didn't care about CTE. So it was like no budget, no focus on CTE, and my administrator and I didn't get along because I had a lot of ideas and things that I wanted to do, and they weren't on board. And I'm kind of like Debbie. When someone's not on board with me, I go around them. I figure out a way to make it paid for, or I get somebody on my side that's going to come in and give me and write the check. And then they can't argue when someone's giving you donations or money or funds, because I mean, that speaks volume about you caring about your kids. And in the end, it is all about your kids, but sometimes education can be political, unfortunately.
Yeah. So, you know, so this is a support group. So, you know, besides the pandemic and dealing with distance learning, you know, these are all relevant things. And, you know, being your second year, having this support group is huge for your mental health and well-being. So, you know, we got to fight for our rights to teach, not party, and party. There we go. So thanks for sharing that. You know, nothing's off topic here. You know, we want to be raw, real, and what we like what I said in the very beginning of the meeting. And I see that we're having a sushi competition between Jeff and Mike. There we go. So we got a cafe and a sushi, and I'm on the beach. So I just want to like, so for the people who are not able to watch this video or listening in, because I know we have a few of those, Scott says, document everything that happens in writing. So that's a very big HR thing. You know, documentation is key. Conversations, emails, anything, because those are all things that you can bring to HR. I know because my wife works in HR, so so these are all very relevant things. Another thing, Late said,
Can I say one thing about that?
Oh yeah, sure, go right ahead.
Ashley, if you have a verbal conversation with your director, then I have learned when I have a verbal conversation that nobody heard, then I just go back to my desk and I send him an email to confirm what we just talked about. And a lot of times he doesn't respond, but then that's also documentation for me, you know, is this what you just said to me? If he doesn't deny it, then that's a document, but that is a document. So it's wise to do that. Just for your own protection. And that helps if you get in a situation where, you know, he or she is trying to do anything. And like Mike said, hey, when you've got the whole community, you know, the school board and everybody, you've done so many things for the kids in your community and you're recognized all the time, you know, it's hard for him to have to, or my boss to have to, you know, do too much to me. I don't worry about losing my job, you know, because I have all this community support. There'd be some questions about that. But document every verbal thing as well by just send them an email to just confirm what you just talked about.
That's a great suggestion. It also brings to reality that what you talked about isn't going to go brushed under the table. So very good. Thanks again for that. So just one more comment. So Late, when we were talking about sending food home to kids, you know, he has close to 200 students. Man, that is a ridiculous load. And right now he's doing cooking demos, but students are welcome to cook along and engage with them. And I see that, Late, you're currently in a classroom cooking something right now, aren't you? So, oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting ready to do a demo that I'm going to show in class tomorrow.
Oh, cool. Are you going to cook something for us right now?
Not right now, but I'm going to show them how to make cream pies and how to make a pastry cream.
Yeah, I wonder if I should mix in cooking demos with these meetings. Actually, no, I don't think that's a good use of time. We could find cooking demos anywhere on YouTube, but you can't find mental health and community building on YouTube or PLC. So, thanks.
Welcome.
Anybody else have any like concerns, anything that they're encountering? So Ashley brought up a really important thing, dealing with these situations, and everyone has a lot of experience with it that they could share.
I'm starting to think about, obviously competition season and FCCLA and how the conferences are going to go for kids and getting signed up, and just wondering what that's going to look like this year. Because, I memean, FCCLA's got a discount package deal for advisors, and ProStart, I don't think they've even announced when they're having their event yet or not in Texas, but there's a lot of what ifs of everything seems to be put off until after Christmas, but we've got to put our budgets and our POs in and get it paid for now. I'm trying to figure out what's happening in the rest of the country. If y'all having anything's canceled or shut down permanently.
Don't quote me on this, but I just heard from one of our FCCLA region people here in California that our region event competition that we usually have in February is pretty much not going to take place, and the kids will automatically advance to state.
Wow.
Oh.
But that's California. We're a whole nother ball game,
Yeah.
Don't get me started. Don't get me started.
Well, last meeting, you guys dropped a bombshell that day that you weren't allowed to force students to show the video of themselves participating in the Zoom meetings. Is that still the case? How do you take attendance? How do you make sure that they're actually listening?
I take attendance.
Yeah.
I take attendance by checking when I check them in through the waiting room, and then I ask them questions during the class to make sure they're actually listening and engaged.
Yeah. So do they verbalize it, or do they respond via text or chat?
Both.
Okay. So that's your way of making sure that they're there. I see Juanita and Patty. Did you develop any other strategies that have been successful with attendance and accountability?
Oh, we have 90-minute classes, and yeah, they're exciting. But everything's virtual, and now we're virtual from home because of all the fires here in California, that our air quality has gotten so bad that we're basically not leaving the houses. I mean, I live on a ranch, so I have to leave the house. But I take roll 3 times, and basically I check kids if I'm not looking at them, if I'm looking at their ceiling. They have to have their camera on, but if I'm looking at their ceiling, I just, say, Nai Wang, and then if he gives me a thumbs up, I know that he's right there. If there's a lag, then he's over on his bed or he's playing a video game. So we do attendance depending upon whether they're reacting or not. So
like you randomly call on somebody to make sure that, it's like, hey, wake up. Just like, back when I was in school and a teacher threw chalk at me. Oh wait, I just dated myself.
No, we had a teacher with a yardstick that'd come along behind your desk and slam it down on your desk.
Yeah, I slept a lot in math class. Anyway, yeah, okay, cool. Those are good strategies. Yeah, I mean, asking questions, make sure they answer it. Maybe you could throw in a secret word that if they don't know about it. I don't know.
So I was just thinking, I got a email, maybe some of you got it from Perfect Puree. They're doing bingo on Instagram, their social media, and every 5 minutes they put up an image, and if it's on your bingo board, you get 5 in a row. So I was thinking of doing, like per lesson, and just kind of having some recognition through to drive engagement to make sure that they're following along, but I haven't figured out what I'm going to do yet.
No, bingo, that actually sounds like a good thing, or a secret image, or I don't know. There's probably a variety of ways to do that. But the only thing is, like, a kid can easily say, hey, Scott, what did they just put up? So, there's always that, some conspiracy going on. But yeah, I mean, we just gotta be very creative. Like, change your cursor. That if that works, that works. Great. So a couple more chats here. Georgia's fall rally and competitions will be virtual. So Georgia's going virtual. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking that California is going to be virtual because, well, you're California, and there's so many things going on there that it's going to be virtual. But I wonder if I got like a maybe later on when they actually know something, like somebody from FCCLA to guest speak or Skills USA or maybe even ProStart. You know, would that be a cool thing to have a guest speaker? All right, I see thumbs up. Yeah, yeah. I mean, we'll see how we'll see how well that goes. But hey, we're a community. You know, we want some answers, or maybe we can provide solutions.
Did anybody judge the virtual FCCLA this summer?
Oh, Patty, you did?
How'd you feel like that went, Patty? I was a judge too. I was kind of surprised at the smoothness of it.
Well, I was a room consultant. That's where they ended up putting me. And because I'm the advisor for our club, and having to, I mean, I don't procrastinate. I mean, just like, and having 3 days of people getting to judge websites and them all waiting until day 3 to do the judging. And there were 15 different websites and there was a lot involved. And ours wasn't real smooth. I mean, I felt like I was getting the cattle prod out and about ready to attack a couple of people that were in different time zones. But I mean, it did go well, other than we had one person that was way off the other 2 as far as the judges. And it came down to, you're going to have to add 20 points to all your scores. I mean, that's just all there is to it. And then I had to back up and do all my paperwork over because all of hers was wrong. So yeah, that was a little bit difficult, but I mean, at least the kids got to compete. I had 4 seniors. All of them came away with silver medals, even though they weren't technically able to complete the projects because we all walked away in mid-March. I think the kids would have done better had we been able to complete, but you know, at least they got to compete. They were all seniors and they hadn't gone to a nationals before. So that was at least a nice opportunity for them.
I just wondered how the other side of that went. I hope I wasn't your pain in the, because I realized that I really made a mistake as a judge because I'm pretty hard on my kids, you know, on how I judge things, and I was pretty off on, but then I realized that I was judging younger kids and they didn't tell me. So had I known I was judging freshmen and sophomores, I would have judged that a little lighter than I thought I was, you know, judging seniors. So I think that they didn't communicate that well. But I compromised and came up on my scores, so I hope I wasn't your pain in the.
I don't remember you being a pain. Young girl down in Florida.
Well, that's cool. And I actually felt that the virtual convention conference that FCCLI did was actually well put together. So whoever they contracted, I actually enjoyed the sessions and everything. So, but at least now, you know, they'll have a year to plan for the next one. We're hoping it's going to be in person, but I think it's going to be a hybrid of the 2. I know that, you know, thinking about like other conferences like ACF and certain other conferences, like everyone's thinking, you know, we're going to do virtual and online instead of just, virtual and online, virtual and in person. Instead of just in person only, because I think what they learned is that accessibility, you know, makes it so that they have much farther reach. Because I was able to attend conferences in Europe, and I'm not in Europe, yay! And I still got a lot out of those meetings and things like and conversations and things like that. So I think it's just going to advance these conferences to a whole new level that we never experienced before. So good. Thanks for bringing that up. You know, I always wanted to know how that perspective was like, Debbie. So your first time virtual judging, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to read a couple comments here. So just from earlier, Ashley says she teaches intro to culinary, and the most difficult Elsa, Texas, and advanced culinary and practicum, so you teach everything. Most difficult thing was teaching online. Veronica is from Wisconsin, fax teacher, and her thing was teaching through Google Classroom and how to use Hapara, I guess, to monitor students' screen time. Okay, so cool. Anybody got any other questions, things that they ran into, tips, cool tools that they ran into? This meeting was specifically designed so that without too much structure, because we wanted you guys to just like throw in anything that you want, good, bad, ugly, and if we don't have much to say, we don't have to stay for much longer. So we're only here for as long as you need to have conversations about. Anybody else who hasn't said anything like to say something? Oh, Brenda, you come on down.
I have a question for Mike Erickson. So they blocked Bitmoji for our students.
What?
And we've been working really hard on this Bitmoji. Do you have, or does anybody have other suggestions for these, because it's all about engagement. And that was a SEL way of kids to express how they're feeling and stuff. Any thoughts about other things that are out there?
Are you saying they block the kids from being able to create them? Because
they can use their phones and then send themselves emails and then take it from there and put it into their slides. They can do that, but they cannot add the extension.
Yeah, in that case, it's kind of tough. But I mean, for teachers, they wouldn't block it, so you're able to.
No, I have access.
Yeah, it's kind of disappointing, but they're still kind of trying to figure it out. There's some apps that are on the list that are really good that they won't let people use because they kind of like the TikTok argument right now that they say they're a security threat or a risk or whatever. And it's a new world for a lot of the technology people because there's so many apps are coming out so quickly. They don't know which ones are safe or not.
It's about the bandwidth too. It takes up too much bandwidth or something. I don't know.
I don't think Bitmoji would take up that much bandwidth.
Yeah, only if you're using a 100-page slide or something, and it's a lot lower than PowerPoint for sure.
What'd you say? I'm sorry, I missed it.
I was going to say it shouldn't take up that much bandwidth because it's lower than PowerPoint.
Yeah.
So it's just unfortunately a challenge in some school districts because they didn't plan to. I mean, I've got some recipe sites blocked in my district, and every year they block them again after I ask them to open them up for, Epicurious, the Food Network, and it's like a never-ending story. Like they put some kind of software on there, and it just goes and for some reason blocks out all the food sites.
It's called adaptive filtering. It's smarter than we are, so it thinks you don't need it. I hate it. It's been a big pain in my ass with KP. Like they see the word alcohol or firearm or robbery, which we talk about bank robberies and management, and they instantly start blocking our site. So it's like, well, what are you gonna do about that? So yeah, those adaptive filters are a real pain in the ass. Like it works one day, then the next day it stops working because it triggers some sort of algorithm that is stupid. But yeah.
I just got KP Compass blocked this week. It took me 2 days to get it unblocked. My boss kicked me right out.
So we triggered something. Must have been the maitre d' section about Samier. There we go, Samier. So yeah, so those things happen a lot, and you're going to encounter that throughout the year. You're like, hey, it works one day, and then the next day it doesn't, and that's because of adaptive filtering or smart firewalls. They're getting smarter and smarter, which is also getting much more of a pain in all of our collective arses. So just keep in mind that landscape is going to change constantly for you. Yeah, great. So let's see here. Shannon Tag said that she is at a job course, so she was here earlier, but she said that Google Meets and lessons helps, but they're having a difficult without being in the kitchen. And so those are some of the cool things I've seen in chat today. Yeah, Judy says that that their district has blocked students as well.
Is anybody using Netflix online? And it works with your school? Because I thought the new chef's table, some of the ones that are out there, would be good to assign for, just to break it up. I mean, because some of our kids don't have streaming or have, if it would be able to, they'd be able to view it through our Google Meet if I had it on my screen when sharing it. Is that how you do it, Scott?
Yeah, so it depends on the internet the day of what I've been running into, if there's some delay, because I usually log in with the Chromebook so I can see how it's going. I will have them all turn off their cameras, and that just makes it stream a little bit better. I use, my district uses Zoom. My wife's school uses Google Meets, and if they show on Google Meets, it drops people off the calls if they try streaming something, but it's working for me in Zoom.
So go ahead, Lee.
What I was going to say is, I also, if I were going to show something, if I show something off the cooking channel, I think it was Carnival Eats or on the history of funnel cakes. So I screencasted the video and then I saved it to my Google Drive, and then I just uploaded it to Canvas, which we're using now.
That's not a bad idea.
Yep, yeah, that's one way to get around the copyright streaming.
Yeah, that's why they won't let us, because of the copyright.
Yeah, but if you put it in your drive, who's gonna know?
Yeah.
And that's the truth about anything, you know. It's like, you know, so yeah, that's one way, is like, you know, you could capture it and then upload it and the kids can download it, so you don't have to worry about streaming. That's one thing that I could suggest. Another thing is, like, you know, if you're going to be streaming it through a screen share medium, like let's say your screen's like this big, make the video window this big, so if they don't have to see all the detail, because the smaller the window, the less internet bandwidth the video is going to have to shoot out. So let's say this is taking up like 1 megabit. This is going to take out 200 kilobits or 100 kilobits, because it's an exponential growth factor of the screen size of how much data is being transmitted out. So if the smaller the window, then, you know, if you do a full screen, obviously it's going to come to them at like 2 frames per second. So they'll be like moving like this. But you know, if you shrink it down, then it'll increase the frame rate, the quality, although you sacrifice the size of it. But, you know, hey, if it's edutainment and they're not concerned about specific.
Yeah, that's a good tip. I do the same thing. I am recording with Screencastify and then uploading it from my drive, embedding them in the Google Slides, and the same thing from YouTube, so that it's smaller and it's embedded and you don't have to worry about the ads on YouTube showing on the side.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And the other thing is, if you're streaming, a good practice is to have another device logged in as you, so you can see what they're seeing. So if you're doing something and you're moving so fast, but on your screen it's coming in like, and you see one picture and the next thing 5 pictures later comes up, then you'll know that you're going way too fast for what your outbound is. So, like, you know, everyone's internet's different. Like, most people have really fast downstream. Like, you know, like I have 300 megabit. Some people have 1,000. A lot of people have 50. So, which is adequate for streaming. But their upstream is what caps them on what they can broadcast. So I'm capped at 330. A lot of people are capped at 10. Some are capped at 1. So at 1, you can't do a whole lot. So you need to know how much you can transmit to effectively to know what you can or can't do. Because if you're sending a video image and it's coming in like at, like, you know, 5 frames per second, and your voice isn't coming through because it's, you know, so those are just some things to be aware of, that I'm hoping that your IT people have trained you on, which I'm gonna guess that they haven't with the shake of your heads. Nope. Oh, basic bandwidth management wasn't taught in your schools? Geez, what kind of like caveman era are these people? That's one of the first things I would teach, bandwidth management. Anyway, it's a funny thing. So, but the thing is, like, you know, I see a lot of people's pictures on these coming in fine. So your upstream has gotten better. I know, Deborah, your bandwidth, like, over the summer was pretty low, but I think that's improved since then. And I think that's just going to come over time as we overcome the bandwidth inequity. So good question, good tip there. You know, lots of good stuff online and lots of creative ways to bypass YouTube, which I will neither confirm nor deny that I know these things. Great. Thanks, Scott, for that information, by the way. So we'll see how that goes. Anybody else have any other tips, concerns, the things that they have done this past couple weeks, past month that's worked for distance learning, getting kids started, or any major challenges that you've encountered that you'd like to share? Christy, I haven't heard from you. Have you? Is there anything you'd like to say? I'm calling on you as a teacher. Like, what you gonna say? Oh, you're still muted. There you
Can't
go.
even unmute myself. We use Google Meets, so Zoom is like a foreign animal to me. This is our third day.
Oh,
so
wow. Brand new.
I know, right? So we're still trying to figure out attendance and crazy stuff like that. So it's ridiculous out here in Oregon. A little smoky, but yeah, that's all I've got. I'm just making it up day by day.
Yeah, it's a lot smoky there. So yeah, well, welcome to the distance learning fray. So hopefully you picked up a few good ideas here.
Yes. Yes.
Great. Yeah. So
I can't imagine though, people who are having to send food home. I can't comprehend how that works, because budget-wise, if you're preparing things in class, you have several students working with a certain number of ingredients. But if you have to send those same ingredients home to each student, doesn't that increase your food cost immensely?
Yeah, one would think that it would, unless if you're, yeah, you have to, unless you're giving like everybody like a little salt packet or
right.
some cream of tartar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think it's still early that, you know, everyone's just covering the basics like carrots and celery, the big knife skills. But yeah, I can't imagine what was that when you got into the proteins. Geez, you know, did you have to send like, did you just have to send just a bunch of chicken breasts or?
Right. Yeah, and then the logistics. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why you do a virtual barbecue.
That's a good idea.
Let them do it from home in their backyard. Oh, and Nye, I think the next guest speaker should be Betsy DeVos. Can you get on that for me?
Okay, yeah. Let me see it. But she has like 0 qualifications right now.
Love to hear her opinion on some of this.
Well, probably she would have no opinion and say defer to someone else. I'm guessing. But yeah, that's pretty funny, Mike. So wonderful. Yeah. So sorry to mean to pick on you. I'll call you the new student of the group, but hey, it's good to hear that that you're new here and you're gathering new information from everyone else. And if you haven't already, like, you know, watch the previous meetings because they're chock full of stories and ranting and fun stuff like that too. But you know, everyone is entertained by those as well. Yeah, and Ashley, thanks for sharing that. I mean, I know that you felt that it was kind of like out of place, but it was perfectly in place and needed for people like you. So I'm sure other people will definitely relate to your story.
Yes, and for example, when we first started, one of the first things that our principal told me, you know, was that the students weren't allowed to cook at home. So I went to my director and I said, well, I thought sending the kits with to practice measuring, the plastic knives, things like that. I explained to her I thought that was a really cool idea, and she said, well, no, unfortunately we don't have the budget. It's not in the budget. And one thing that she continuously suggests is, well, teach them how to make pudding, teach them how to make Jell-O. And that's like her answer for everything. It's like Jell-O this, Jell-O that. So that's just a little funny note.
Oh, that is funny. So I guess you could teach through Jello. Maybe you could do knife skills through Jello and teach bâtonnet. I wonder if you could julienne Jello. Yeah, it'd be pretty interesting. Although I guess you could julienne gelatin sheets, maybe.
Yeah, that could work.
Yeah. So let's see here. Juanita said asked a question about not being allowed to do knife skills. So there was a last meeting. A teacher brought up that she uses plastic knives that you could buy on Amazon. It's like $3 for $8, I think that was. So I'm gonna post that link in here. I think.
Just bought some on Amazon. There were 3 for $11.48.
Okay.
And I had to get permission to send them home, and I'm sending home cut dough. And Jean Torres has on her teacher pay teacher. It's a template, and I just laminate the template, and we make the cut dough in class. I'm using individual burners just within my classroom because I'm still not allowed to go in my kitchen yet. And I replaced my desk with stainless tables so we could do work in the classroom. But those knives were $11.48, and they came with a cutting board. I'll find the number and post it for you. And they're also sort of shaped like chef knives, and they were pretty good quality. I already have them in. They're going home tomorrow. And I also, for my baking and pastry, I found a really nice 300-piece decorating kit on Amazon, and I ordered them a Wilton practice board plus that 300-piece kit. I did spend a little more on my seniors. I think both of those things cost me $40 per student.
Oh.
And so we have a student fee, and we have to spend it on them. It's part of the fees that they pay. So I'll look up those links and post them for you.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thanks. So I posted the link from the last meeting, which contained the links to the knives that were purchased, and a couple other links that somebody offered to help with Zoom and Teams on there too. So I posted that in the chat as well. So that's So did the plastic Debbie? Did the plastic knives work out well? I mean, how did they feel? The chat, you're muted. You're muted. You're muted.
I was looking for the links. They're really not too bad, and they would actually, I use the cut dough anyway and regularly in class to teach knife skills because it's cheaper. I have that limited budget, and I always did that in the first week to week and a half of school because they need to learn life skills right away. So I was already using the cut dough with regular knives, but I knew I wanted them to have the same shape and feel of, a chef knife. And these are pretty close. I was really surprised at the quality of it. Plus they got a small cutting board with it as well.
Oh, cool.
And they'll be able to cut these knives are sharp enough to cut probably some soft vegetables anyway. And today I did a caramel French toast. I cooked them breakfast because they brought in all of their paperwork, their signed paperwork. So I did like a breakfast to show them how to cut chiffonade and do all that. I cut vegetables for the omelets. And then I made this caramel French toast, and it's really great to cut bread in large dice. And those knives that I bought will cut that. So I'm gonna send them that recipe home, and it has just staples in it that they could use. I'll be glad to share that. It's a fun recipe.
Oh yeah, I think that's wonderful because first off, I didn't know the quality of it, so that's good to hear that it was up to par, because you never know about those things. And I think that sharing those things that you've done, other people will definitely benefit from. So so I'll put that in the resource links once we're done with that. And if you're able to share that with me, I'll send it out to the group. That'd be
Okay.
great. And also on top of that, given that you are in such a limited budget, you're probably the queen of getting things done with a very little amount of resources.
It's always funny because I'm like, my second year when we do cake, when we start cake decorating, they all have to bring in a tube of toothpaste, because you realize toothpaste is almost the exact same consistency as buttercream icing. And when I teach them to make bags and learn to write, I use toothpaste.
Oh.
So the first time I bought 20 things of toothpaste on my budget, the treasurer's office called me and questioned why I needed to buy 20 tubes of toothpaste. And I said, well, if you want me to put up the cost of the buttercream versus the toothpaste, you'll figure out I saved you a lot of money. And it's a lot less mess, and you have a nice fruity smelling classroom. And we just practice on the back of a sheet pan.
Yeah, and you can reuse it over and over again too.
Yeah, you just scrape it off and reuse it, and you don't have the mess of buttercream, and it really is a good teaching tool. And then some years my budget was so bad, their requirement was each one of them had to bring in a tube of toothpaste. So.
Wow. I wonder if there's something you could Google to as a buttercream substitute or something that's of the same consistency. I'm sure that somebody's come up with a recipe online, mixing certain ingredients. But yeah, that's creative, using toothpaste. And maybe if you can even poke the holes to make the tips out of the caps. But yeah, that's pretty cool. I wonder if you could buy toothpaste in bulk too.
Hey, you can buy it at the dollar store, great big tube for $1. It works.
Yeah, that's where I've seen them before. Dollar store is great for a whole lot of minuscule resources. So another wonderful tip. Cool little things, and especially now when you have to distribute a lot of stuff, and especially when you're out of the classroom, when you're not in the classroom but having to send things home to the student, cheap things. So good knives. Somebody said finger jello, it's stiffer than jello. It can be cut, so finger jello. That's a good suggestion from Veronica. And making homemade Play-Doh. So talk about ingredients, lessons on ingredients. Making Play-Doh. I guess that could be culinary related, right? And then using that to cut with. Yeah, a lot of creative ideas. So a lot of cool things that we can come up with to get over the knife skills challenge. So you substitute proteins with plant-based protein and Jello and Play-Doh for knife skills. Cool. Keep the ideas coming. Okay. Anybody else have any other cool suggestions and things that they like to toss into the mix? If not, this has been a great meeting. So a lot of cool ideas. Right here, it's not as doom and gloom as the one from 2 weeks ago, which was pretty bad. But hey, now we have wildfires and a hurricane, so I guess it's all in perspective, right? So anybody else? Anything? Cut dough, Play-Doh. Yeah. Cut dough is equal to Play-Doh, Scott said. All right, so so I'm thinking about keeping these meetings at the same time every week, Wednesdays at 3 o'clock. I used to change the time just to kind of accommodate other people, but I think this works for everyone. And also keeping consistent will make sure that everyone will know it on the calendar. So, and I'll keep doing these as long as there's people who want to participate and use it to gain ideas and advice and also inspiration at the same time. So so if no one else has anything else to say, I just wanted to conclude with I hope that the first demonstration on memory management was useful. Thumbs up if it was. If you were here for that, great. All right, thanks. And everybody who's participated, and I especially like to thank Ashley for sharing her struggles that are not COVID related or pandemic related. So, we got to realize that, besides the things that are happening because of that, the virus, is that we are, are also real people, and we have like to deal with real people stuff at the same time. And those things don't go away. So we can't forget about that. So I'm going to put on my graduation cap and thank everyone for being here, and Debbie for all your tips on being frugal, and Scott for your cursor ideas, and if I forgot to mention anyone else, but and Mike's not here right now, he had to go. But remember, like, we got a great group here. We're all here to support each other. And for those of you who are watching, I thank you all for watching this video or listening to it. And I guess we'll see you all in 2 weeks for our next meeting. We'll see what's going to be thrown at us come, what is that? Going to be September 30th, the last day of September. So hopefully we'll go out really strong. So thanks again. And like I said, one of the things I learned over the summer is to, if you could do applause like this, or you could wave your hands next to your head, and that's the same language for applause. So round of applause. Thank you all for being here. You guys are all great. And you all have a good night, and see you in 2 weeks.